Waiter, waiter, more lead poisoning, please. Chat, did you know that Stanley mugs apparently have lead in them? Now, this has been a little bit of fad recently. Everyone's been talking about this, but I saw, I don't have it up actually, but I saw like a news article or something where they tested it with like a swab that turns a different color in the presence of lead. And yeah, it does have lead, apparently. You know what, we could just, Stanley lead. Stanley cups contain lead, according to the BBC. Should we be worried about exposure? Let's just do this quickly. After Stanley fans posted home lead tests on social media, the company confirmed the viral insulated tumblers do contain lead, is what experts are saying. So that's not a good idea. The thing is, Ghost, it's odd, because the BBC is actually fine on some topics. It's actually quite good on some topics. But when it comes to the culture war, you can't trust them for a second. I've seen them actually talk sensibly about some things that are, like, connected to the culture war. They've even been relatively fair to Trump in some articles. But the BBC, whilst it does do, like, decent reporting, still sometimes, like I'm sure some US institutions do as well, it also does plenty of fucking rank propaganda. So it exists on every network. But I have seen some good stuff. And this is a story I doubt the BBC is going to have much of a bias on. Stanley, the makers of the tumblers that have become a viral sensation, have come under scrutiny this week. Social media users, specifically on TikTok and Instagram, oh, I see, have been sharing videos showing at-home lead test findings, and the results are worrying faithful Stanley sippers. Good thing we don't have any of the kind of demographic that uses Stanley mugs, young women who also regularly use TikTok and Instagram here in chat. That would be terrible. How could we abide such a thing? Yes, man, social Darwinism. The discussion with Scrum about that. That was just sort of like a bit of a grey zone in the boundary of the definitions. I think he probably is right for the original meaning, but it's just not how it's used today. That's the only point I was making. Dozens of consumers are posting videos claiming that their tumblers tested positive for lead. It's often unclear from the videos which or how many different brands of at-home lead tests these consumers are using, but to be EPA certified, home lead tests such as D-lead must produce an accurate result when used correctly 95% of the time. At-home lead tests for drinking water are less reliable. Maybe true. In response to the claims, Stanley issued a statement about lead in its product. At Stanley, one of the key features in our product is our vacuum insulation technology, which provides consumers with drinkware that keeps beverages at the ideal temperature. The company wrote on its website, acknowledging that lead is used in the manufacturing process. The statement continues, once sealed, this area is covered with a durable stainless steel layer, making it inaccessible to consumers. Rest assured that no lead is present on the surface of any Stanley product that comes into contact with the consumer, nor the content of the product. Now, let me express this quickly. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. This is some chemistry, some biology as well. Lead is bad for you. Let me know if I got anything wrong there. No, but lead, like, it gets in, like, literally into your brain and blocks off some, like, receptor nodes or something. So it literally causes direct physical brain damage. I don't know why lead specifically does that, but it does. I've seen an animation and everything. So it's not just like if you drink too much lead. Any lead does that, pretty much. So don't drink lead. Now that said, if what they're saying here is true, that the lead is completely sealed off and inaccessible, maybe it's okay. But chat, press 1 if you would not want to buy any product which places something that you're drinking within a few millimeters of lead, even if there is steel between them. And even if the company assures you that it's completely sealed, press 1 if you would not feel comfortable drinking liquid from right there next to that border. Honestly, I think, yeah, we do. I think the company here probably made a mistake by using lead in the first place. Did they not realize this would be a PR disaster, even if it is safe and better? It's a catastrophe waiting to happen, surely. Like, even if you use something like that's dense and like almost as dense and almost as cheap as lead, it won't be as good, but it won't cause a catastrophe in the press. Like, I don't think that there are any materials which are as dense as lead and also as cheap. Like, steel isn't too far off on its own, but, they obviously are using that already. Something like copper, but copper I think is more expensive than lead, and it's not quite as dense either. You know, obviously like osmium and tungsten, but they're a lot more expensive than lead, I think, but they are actually more dense than lead. I don't know that, I assume density is what they wanted it for, because preventing the heat getting through it as quickly. I guess copper is a good heat conductor, so maybe it's that they're after. Maybe aluminium for that, but it's not as dense, I don't think. I don't know, but either way, surely they could have something else, something other than literally lead. Like, the funny thing is, it's also shaped like a pipe, so it's literally a lead pipe. Which is not a good idea. Stone actually is a good, like, you could use ceramics. Ceramics keep out. Why are they using fucking ceramics? Are literally just designed for keeping heat out. They don't conduct heat at all. Bismuth. Bismuth is nice. Like if you use bismuth, you could have like you could make the outside of the bottle transparent plastic and have the bismuth inside, and you could have the shiny patterns. That would be great. Bismuth, I think, is more expensive though, Ginger, but that's yeah, that's viable. Imagine not making your drinking cups out of plutonium. That would actually be worse than lead, yes. That would be worse. That would actually be worse. Granite bottle. I mean, that would be very much heavy, yes. But then lead is also very heavy. A plumbed, yeah, plumbus. That name means bad lead. Well, yeah, indeed. They come from the same origin. That's why the chemical symbol for lead is Pb, plumb. And a plumber, as Gareth said, is named after the lead they would have been working with. So it's now an outdated, literally, name for them. We read the phrasing note. They say it's used in the manufacturing process, i.e. it's a contamination issue not intended. Well, Voodoo, that is a good point. That's the next thing I was going to get onto. It may be that these tests that they're doing on TikTok and Instagram, which is not exactly the foremost forum of science in the world, but still, you know, if the tests are picking up lead inside the drinking bottle and not in the bottles of other major brands, which, by the way, was shown, that is the result they found, then that does imply contamination. Now, either that or they're using the tester wrong, which is kind of hard to believe is happening when they use it in the same way on 3 different products and get different results for the Stanley, and all the other ones say no lead. So yes, I expect what's happened here is that the Stanley company has released this statement saying that the area is covered with a durable stainless steel mail and making it inaccessible to consumers. I think that's probably bullshit. I think they have contamination, and they either know it and are releasing this statement to dispel the myth, even though it's not a myth, or they don't know it, and they're hoping it's not true. Telling me the Chinese spyware clock attention span drainer app isn't a bastion of pure esoteric knowledge. Say it ain't so, says Motch, one of the foremost users of that app. But yeah, no. You know, the image I saw was of someone that had tested it on all 3, and only the Stanley one showed up for lead. So I don't know. Maybe they're bullshitting. It could be that, okay, like, who do you trust more? A bunch of punters using a Chinese spyware app, or the company who stands to lose out if it's true? That's a hard one, actually. I might trust the punters, to be honest, in that case. I'm not sure. But yeah, the BBC reached out to Stanley for additional comment, and they responded with the statement available on the website. The online statement concludes that the Stanley products meet all US regulatory requirements. Oh, do they? Lead in drinkware. This is pretty generic stuff. There is no known safe blood lead concentrate. Yeah, so don't have any lead at all, not even a tiny bit. It's very bad for you. Even minuscule amounts found in blood may be associated with decreased intelligence in children, behavioral difficulties, and learning problems. Yeah, it fucks up your brain. Don't have lead. Like, honestly, the risk here that Stanley is lying. The risk here that Stanley is lying means you shouldn't buy their products. I'm not adding a qualifier to that. I'm not adding a time-based qualifier to that, like you shouldn't buy the products for 2 years. I'm not adding a gray zone qualifier to that. You shouldn't buy them most of the time. You shouldn't buy their drinkware. No, just don't buy their products at all. Possibly forever. You know, it's up to you. And until they find a way to prove to you that they don't have any lead contamination at all, because any amount of lead is a very bad idea. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying there is lead. I'm saying it's not worth the risk. And if even a bunch of TikTokers are saying there's lead, there might be lead, I wouldn't risk it. Much as I would drink from lead-infused 20th century promotional Garfield glass tumblers, and none of you can stop me. Well, Motch, would you like some little so what if the sort of featured parts of the mug sort of glowed a bright green? Wouldn't that be cool if it glowed like that? You don't need your jawbone. I mean, who really needs their jawbone, right? Ooh, radium, yes. Cabal brand radium. Anyway, replace your blood with lead. Apparently, the physical qualities of bismuth are so close to lead that you can literally use bismuth as a direct substitute for lead in ammunition without the need to modify the fire. Well, it sounds like a sparkly tracer round. Yeah. That wasn't radium, that was phosphorus. I think it was both. I think it was radium and phosphorus. The phosphorus was the one glowing in reaction to the radium, I think. Me of radium, I had a wristwatch with radium on the hands to be readable in the dark as a kid. Or for over a decade. Well, that explains a lot, doesn't it, Gara? Or probably nothing, actually. It was only the radium girls who had the problems, primarily, because they were painting their faces with, painting their teeth with it. And that was obviously fucking up the cells around their mouth. So I don't think most of the people that had the radium clock faces or the radium wristwatches were really caused very many issues. It was more so the people that were constantly close to it. But if you wore one your entire life, you might have issues, yeah. I would expect there to be a much greater chance of you having cancer if you wore a radium-infused wristwatch for your entire life. So don't. But wearing it for a little while isn't going to actually do much to you, I don't think. Truly jaw-dropping results. The watch glasses was a lead-based glass. Yeah, well, maybe that would actually protect you from the just don't lick the watch. But yeah, maybe the lead in the glass would actually protect you from the radiation. But was there any lead beneath that layer? Don't know. I'm not sure whether the radium gives out alpha, beta, or gamma, but it might be able to get through whatever the surface is. Don't know. It might be safe. I wouldn't recommend it, but it might be safe in short doses. They used to paint with it and lick their brushes to wet them. They were ingesting it, exactly. Yeah, they got on well. If I don't lick the radium watch, how will it stay clean? Okay, that's a comment to screenshot and save for later. Lead is the most dangerous when basically powderized. It's why lead-based paint is banned. It chips and becomes easily digestible. That sounds about right. Yep. Real crystal glass contains lead and you can drink from it safely. Just don't drink anything stored in it. That sounds like the same thing, Meatbun.